Hey everyone, my name is Allie Brickner. I'm a job developer here at MICC. Thanks for joining this virtual presentation about job development. So in this presentation, we're going to go through what is job development and what to expect for your senior year. This presentation is for seniors coming in this year, and also anyone is able to watch it if they want and learn about job development, but this presentation is geared towards the incoming senior class. So let's get started. So I'm just going to introduce the team here. My name again is Allie Brickner. I've been with MICC for about a year. Jeff Myrie is our other job developer. He has been at MICC for 4 years. And Becky Waggy is our employment support specialist. Becky does a lot of the behind the scenes administrative work. She also works a lot with community members. You've probably seen us around in the Career Center and also stopping in classes and things like that. But we are all very excited to work with you this year. So let's get started by talking about what is job development. So during your senior year, you'll be working with a job developer. Job developers provide one-on-one support to search, apply, and interview with the goal to obtain employment during your senior year. So some of these activities include resume and cover letter development. You've worked on developing your resume these past few years. We are just going to kind of help you craft it and make it presentable to future employers. We'll also be talking about networking. So Jeff and I do a lot of networking in the Richfield, Bloomington area with various businesses. We'll teach you about how to identify your network and how to utilize your network to help you obtain employment. We'll also talk through interviewing. So we'll do prep questions before an interview to help you feel ready to go. We'll talk through grooming and clothing, making sure you're presenting yourself very professionally for your interview. We'll also attend interviews. So job developers can come with you to an interview if you want. Employers are really accommodating to this request. And so it's kind of a nice thing for us to be able to be there to support. We also provide support after starting a new job. So any onboarding or paperwork that you might have to go through, we will help provide that support, as well as doing check-ins with you at work to make sure that you're understanding your tasks and your duties, and if there's any questions, we're there to help. We also can help make a transportation plan for getting to and from work. So if you're riding the bus or if you are taking Metro Mobility or walking, we can help you define a route to get you to and from work. We can also help you figure out scheduling Metro Mobility rides and things like that if you need that support. We also work with graduates involved in the community program. This is a unique thing that job developers get to do, is work with students in the college program as well as members in the community program. So when you graduate, if you decide to join the community program, we get to continue working together if you choose to continue career services. So what does senior year look like? A few things that you need to know. So at the beginning of the year, we'll be doing what's called an intake meeting. It's where we'll meet with the student and parents and talk through what senior year is going to look like, talk through what your job goals are and what kinds of jobs you want to start looking for. We'll be filling out what's called an employment plan. So that is a document that outlines your preferences and goals around employment, and also outlines expectations between job developer and student, and that plan is signed by job developers, by students, and parents. Also during this meeting, we're going to talk about getting started. This is a big question that a lot of students have, is when should I start looking for a job? And the answer to that is pretty simple. It's up to you. A lot of students like to start right away when they move in, start searching and applying and networking. Other students like to wait, maybe a week or two, maybe a month or two. You know, it all really depends on how comfortable you are. And we will talk through that together during our intake meeting. Balancing class and work schedules. So for senior year, the emphasis is employment and finding a job. And so a lot of your employment activities, like going to interviews or having a work shift, will take priority over classes. So if, for example, you have an interview during one of your classes and you have an interview scheduled, you can get an excused absence from that class to go to your interview. If you have a regular work shift or something like that that's consistently interfering with a class, like if you work Tuesday afternoons every week and you have a class during that time, we can talk with your advisor and instructors to figure out how you can make up that class or join a different class or something like that. So again, employment is the main focus for senior year, but we can work with you to figure out your class schedule too. Holiday breaks. As you know, you have time off for Thanksgiving, winter break, and spring break. Seniors have a really great opportunity to stay on campus during these times if they have a job. And so what we would do is if that's the case for you, we would fill out what's called a request to stay on campus form. This is just basically a permission slip stating that you have a job and that you are going to stay on campus during break and live in your apartment and go to work. Job developers are around during these breaks to continue doing check-ins, as well as some other staff are available to provide more of the check-ins in your apartment and things like that. And also thinking about this, we want to keep in mind time off requests. So a lot of students last year got jobs right before Thanksgiving, which is awesome. But then we also had to have lots of conversations about making time off requests. As a new employee at a new job, you might be expected to work over holidays, or you might be able to take time off. It really depends. And so we just want to make you aware that this is definitely it's definitely something that could be, that you might not be able to take time off, or you might be able to take time off for holidays. So keeping that in mind is really important. And then transition post-graduation. Like I said, job developers can continue to work with students as they transition out of the college program and go into the community program. We work with members in the community program to provide those career supports. So you can also continue to work with us after graduation if you choose. So here are some career statistics from the graduating class of 2020. This is just to kind of give you an idea of what other students have gotten in the past in terms of employment, just to kind of give you an idea of maybe what to expect. So the top industry was culinary. A lot of our students got jobs in that field. Hospitality, retail, health services. The average wage was $11.33 per hour, and the average hours worked per week is 18.3. This just gives you a little taste of what to expect when looking for a job. Okay, so we're going to just talk briefly about COVID-19 protocols. Now, this is something on a lot of people's minds, as you know, the world is looking a little different, and there's definitely a new normal when it comes to going to work. So what changes can I expect in the workplace? This list comes from members that we work with that are currently working, and some of the new things that they've seen at their places of employment. So the first one is wearing a mask and gloves. Most, if not all, employers are requiring their employees to wear a mask during their shift. Some of them will provide you a mask, and others you can bring your own. Routine hand washing and regular sanitizing of surfaces. For example, if you're a cashier, you might be asked or required to sanitize the register and that area between customers. That might be a new thing. Symptom and temperature checks. The beginning of every shift, you might be required to have your temperature taken or do a symptom screening. You just want to make sure that you haven't been feeling sick or if you have a temperature. Otherwise, you might not be able to work your shift if you are feeling sick. Protocol on public transportation. Buses might be requiring you to wear a mask. I know Metro Mobility is restricting the amount of people that are going on each ride to maintain social distance. And then lastly, maintaining social distance at work with other employees and with customers. You might also be asked to enforce social distancing with customers as well. So how does this affect job development? Well, we might be doing some virtual meetings with job developers and students. So video calls or phone calls to do routine check-ins, or to do, maybe we would fill out an application over video, or do a practice interview over video, things like that. If we do meet in person, it'll be socially distant. We might meet outside, or we might meet in a different location on campus, depending on how many people are in our office at that time. Virtual or in-person support for interviews. So like I said, job developers can come and attend interviews if it's all right with the employer. And so we still might be able to go in person to these interviews. Or we can join in virtually if the employer can't have more, extra people coming into the facility at a time. We might be able to join in virtually over video or maybe speakerphone. Also, you might have virtual interviews. That might be a new thing that you might experience, is doing a video call with a potential employer. And we'll definitely go over the do's and don'ts and any specific tips to doing virtual interviewing, because it is a little different. In-person job coaching may vary depending on the rules of the employer. Again, if the employer allows job developers to come into the facility, we can totally do that. We might also do virtual supports by video calls or phone calls, or doing check-ins outside of work. And then lastly, support for communication with supervisors regarding symptoms or quarantine. So if you are feeling sick, or someone that is sick and you have to go into quarantine, we can help you communicate that with your supervisor. A lot of supervisors are really flexible with this, because this is our new normal now, and they really want to keep other employees and customers safe, and so they're really flexible with, if you're feeling sick or need to stay home, you will be able to. Okay, so to round this presentation out, we're going to do some frequently asked questions. So, can I get a job before my senior year? The answer to that is yes, you can. Job developers won't start working with seniors until you move back in August. So, if you are getting a job before your senior year, you'll be doing that independently, and then we can talk about supports when you return. Can I get a job that does not relate to my certificate program? The answer to that is also yes. Some students get jobs outside of their certificate, like if someone got a culinary certificate and they got a job in hospitality, or vice versa, that is totally okay. You've learned a lot of universal skills in your classes that can translate to many different positions. So you don't have to stay in your certificate program. Can I keep my current job? The answer to that is also yes. This is one where you will meet with your job developer and talk specifically about that position. It's really important that you know how to get to and from your job from campus and not from your hometown or your parents' house. That's a big important thing to think about. But we can talk through what kind of supports you might need for that job. And then, do I need to find a job right away? So the answer to that is it's up to you. Like we said before, this year is going to look a little different with COVID protocols and things like that, and so we really want to emphasize we want to do what you are comfortable with, and if that means waiting, a few weeks or a month or two, that's okay. If you want to start right away looking for jobs, that's great. So it really is up to you, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. And we can continue to have those conversations when you return in August. Okay, so if there's any more questions, feel free to reach out. Those are our email addresses below. Feel free to send us an email to any one of us and we'll get back to you. And we also just really look forward to working with you all this year. It's going to look a little different, obviously, but we are excited and optimistic that this year is going to be really awesome. So again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out, and we can't wait to see you in August.